And in the context of forgetfulness, I was going to print off an introductory bio for Bruce, but you probably know as much as you need to know. What did you just hear? Traffic? Somebody said silence.
I did.
That's what happens when you don't follow up with your contacts. Whether it's a visitor to Rotary or somebody that you need to be developing a relationship with at work. C.J. Hayden wrote a book called Get Clients Now, and she's one of the 50 business and professional people that I interviewed for the book. And my first question was something to the effect of, and I asked it 50 times. I think I'd remember it, but it was, how is building relationships, nurturing relationships and trust important in your business? And she'd given me a great quote. And I said, well, let me have a follow-on question for you. Why don't people do this? And she said, let me ask you, what do you think was her one-word answer? Why people do not create and nurture relationships in business?
Lazy. Lazy.
All right, lazy. That wasn't her answer, but that's a good one. What else?
Fear.
That's the word. Fear. And she said that she mainly works with solopreneurs and professionals. And she said, when we are on our own, when we are the business, rejection is something that we become very concerned about. And so we find mailing campaigns, we find social media, we find all of these other things rather than going out and saying, hi, Bruce, and following up with Bruce to create and nurture a relationship. So point number one, and this talk is titled The 3 Critical Steps to Get and Keep Clients. First step, point number one, is no follow-up, no results. No follow-up, no relationships, no results. Does anybody here not know what a driving range is? Everyone knows what a driving range is? What is your result when you go to a driving range?
Improved performance.
What's your score when you get done? Okay, that's good. You don't have a score. That's what happens when we don't follow up with people that we meet that are appropriate for us to be building a relationship, whether it's recruiting for Rotary, sales for our business, internal relationships in our business. The score is 0, where, to me, relationship building is like playing a round of golf. You hit the ball, you follow up, you hop in the cart, or if you're really healthy, you grab your hand cart, go find the ball, hit it again. Sometimes it's in the rough. One of the interesting things is, have you ever started a relationship with somebody and it's not quite going so good? They don't call you back or something. But you're thinking, this person would be a great Rotarian, or they'd be a great prospect for the work I do or the product that I sell. But like having a ball in the rough, it's a little hard to find that relationship and get it started. So many of us, even if we're doing this, take a drop. Oh, well, okay, I'm not going to go find that ball in the rough. I'm just going to drop a new one here and go on. Second point, no system, no follow-up. Even so, 80% of us do not naturally create and maintain follow-up systems. Who's in sales or has been in sales here? Okay. Have you ever gone to a sales meeting and they get the top producers for the year up there, 2, 3, 4 people? You're going, you know, Joe and Sally and Mary, they're you know, they did great this year. They're the top of the table. They're the leg of the table, or whatever it's going to be called, MDRT if you're in insurance. And we want you all to do what they did. What do you suppose the rest of us are thinking when they tell us that? What do you think?
How did they do it?
Okay, what's wrong with me? What else?
What did they do?
What did they do? What else?
They got lucky.
Yeah, okay. If you're not a natural, what I call the 80%ers, you're going, oh, they got lucky. Also, we go, yeah, right. Because if we're in touch with our style, particularly if we've gone through the Colby Index and we know how we're hardwired to initiate action and solve problems, we go, fine, I know I'm not a follow-up person. Anybody here been a sales manager or director of fundraising or in the C-level offices responsible for something like that? A few people. Good. When we can have really good closers or really good recruiters who are in the 80%, or not part of that 20% group that you always get the Christmas card from, you get the birthday card, they call you for coffee or lunch, and you go, oh yeah, sure. Gee, I haven't been in touch with them for a while. They need a system, or I should say, we need a system, because this book came out, which is coming out in September, came out of the fact I was looking at how can I refocus my consulting work. And I looked at the piles of business cards on my desk. I just read Max Gunter's book again, The Luck Factor. Not only were they piled around my desk, they were in little Ziploc bags on my desk as well. I said, you know, maybe there's something here that I should think about. We can create systems so if the person is in the right place, as a fundraiser, as a salesperson, so that when they meet somebody, their name gets put into the system and it moves along. Somebody reminds us, hey, call up, have coffee, send a video, send an email. Third point, no planning, no system. And the system can be as simple as a box of thank you cards, and you're saying, hey, I want to send a thank you card to everybody that I meet that meets certain criteria. But if you don't have that system, if you haven't planned how it's going to fit into who you are and what you do, then they just sit in your desk. So the planning will create the system that will give you the follow-up and create and nurture those relationships. One of the people I had the good fortune to interview was Dave Hubers. He is the immediate past president of Ameriprise, one of the largest financial services company in the country. And having been in financial services, I had an asset management company for 20 years. Dave something that Dave said to me really hit home. He said, not only do we recruit people who understand and will put an effort into follow-up, and we give them the software, we give them the systems. So he's one of the people that talked to me about that. The other one that was, two other people that were interested in this context of systems. How many people have worked in an organization of more than 500 that wasn't the military? Okay. Internal relationships. So two of the people that I interviewed, one was Mike Lane, who was a vice president of SALT for Cargill. And by the way, if you have any interest in New Orleans, he has a wonderful book out called The Wisdom of Yachty Rum, where he wanted to share some of the things he had learned as a top management person at Cargill, and he frames it in this story of meeting this old jazz musician in New Orleans and their life together, their interaction, and trying to draw out the wisdom of Yachty Rum. Mike talked to me, and some of it's in the book, about the interaction across departments in an organization that is as large as Cargill. The other person was Tom O'Neill, who heads up a 500-person design company called the Rotary in St. Paul. And he got to talking about, is it anybody in IT in there? IT, particularly IT sales. He talked about the conflict between sales and fulfillment, the design team. Oh, they'll go out and sell something, and then design go, what are we supposed to do with it? So the planning actually, and this model that I've been talking about is in a larger model called the order of business. The planning can start as early as the strategic planning, and where does it fit in there, and then it's operational business planning and project planning, and then you can set up your systems for nurturing relationships or strengthening relationships. Before I finish, on each table is a sign-up sheet, and if you're interested in being notified when the book is done and a link to download a digital copy of the book, please put your name and email address on there. And then I have some cards on the table. And finally, one of the things that I do is a complimentary 1-hour initial strategy session to talk with an organization or an individual about what they're doing, what they're trying to accomplish, and to see if we can figure out if there are some additional steps. And I have two free initial strategy sessions to the first two people who are interested in having one of those initial meetings. Any takers? All right. We started out with silence. And what I've been talking about is how you deal with the silence of not having anyone to speak to. So you need to, first, when you're looking at the design, you need to look at who you are, who your staff is, and what they need in the way of a system to support them. And do the planning to create the system to get the results that you want to get. Thank you. I will stick around after the meeting and take care. Sure.
Also, obviously, you can connect up with people easier today through technology, but do you think that that fosters or stands in the way of creating a true relationship?
One of the people that I interviewed was Gina Pettis, and she's got a social media company called Tenacious. And her point to me in the interview was the fact that, yes, you can build up all these relationships on social media, but until you connect with people at another level, you're generally not going to be able to build off of that unless everything that you're doing is selling a webinar or doing something that's completely web-based. And if you're an organization that is doing, or an individual or solopreneur that's doing anything else, then you need to be connecting with people, even if it's only on Skype, but to connect with them and make it the human contact, because we are hardwired for relationships. Other questions? Yeah.
You mentioned the Colby Index,
Yeah.
not being ever in sales or marketing. I don't know what that is.
It's KOLBE. There are 3 ways that we can be profiled: IQ, effective, and this is the one we know the most about, and that's Myers-Briggs, DISC, Strength Finders, yada, yada, yada. The list has gotten to be very long. Kathy Colby resurrected research that was abandoned in the early 1900s because it was too difficult about the conative way, our conative nature. The effective nature, whether we're extrovert, introvert, sensing, feeling, using the Myers-Briggs terms, that is malleable. That will change in situations and will change over our life, and we can be more extrovert or less extrovert as a situation dictates. The Colby Index looks at how we're hardwired at birth to initiate action and solve problems. There are 4 aspects of it: fact-finding, follow-through, new ideas, and concrete solutions. And what she's been with millions, the last time I was working with her, I was a Colby consultant because I used it with all my asset management clients. She was over 1 million clients, or excuse me, over 1 million indices that they've done. We can work out of type, out of our method of operation, or MO, and the further away we are, the more stress it creates. So if you're a new idea person like I am, and a fact finder, somebody who leads with fact finding, comes into the meeting with that pile of paper that's about this high, and they truly, honestly believe that everybody in that meeting wants to know about everything that's in that pile, and my eyes roll back. So that's what the Colby Index is, and it's important. They've got a wonderful set of software in terms of how you use it for team building. And they have, let me see if I can remember, it's an over 70% accuracy rate to be able to predict the success, whether or not a team will be successful. Other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing with us. In appreciation for your talk this morning, our club is donating a book to the YWCA Family Shelter and invite you to sign a book plate after the meeting.